Welcome back to Senior Savvy Cannabis. I'm Katherine Goldberg. Today, I want to continue our conversation about proper cannabis storage. Since we last spoke, I've learned a lot of new information and I want to pass it on to you guys. So, the reason I am particularly interested in proper cannabis storage is because I like sativas. I like energizing cannabis. And as we've talked about in the past, the terpenes that often give sativas their energizing quality, terpinolene, limonene, pinene, are very volatile and they're actually the first to go when cannabis sits around and time passes. So I want to do everything in my power to maintain the molecular integrity of my weed. I think that's reasonable. Um, we're going to get into the science besides just terpenes because I think there's another very interesting component. But if you just use cannabis to sleep and you're totally cool with it becoming a little bit more sedating as time goes on, no problem. Totally cool. If you're like me and you really want to get the best bang for your buck, keep listening. Before we really jump in, I just want to thank all of you for being here. I'm thrilled that there are 50,000 of you that, like me, want to use cannabis to be the best version of yourself, whatever that means. And just because I prefer sativas doesn't mean there's anything wrong with indicas. Whatever suits you, as long as it's clean and as long as you're using it intentionally, fabulous. I just want to provide you with the right information. Last time we spoke about cannabis storage specifically, I showed you guys a jar that one of our viewers developed. I'll show you right now. It's this jar. It's got this pump lid. So you pump it, right? It takes the oxygen out. I was a little, and then you press it, right? And there's a seal, right? Okay. So I was happy with it and I wanted to do an experiment with you guys because I had left it for a while and I came back and I noticed that when I pressed the button, it didn't make the noise. So I think some oxygen got in. I'm not saying it's defective, but I did remove the link from my previous video until I get some answers. So what I'm going to do is, by the way, let's just open this up properly and show you guys the whole process. So we have some really nice new Blue Dream in here. Okay. We're going to put this on and then we're going to pump it like this, right? And then by the time we're done talking, I'm going to press the button. And if it makes the whoosh sound, then I was wrong and it's totally on me. And this is a great option. Okay, great. So this is pressed more than it needs to be pressed, but let's just say it's pressed. Let's get into some of the science because that's the fun part. So we've talked about terpenes, and it's because oxygen is the culprit here, right? So oxygen not only degrades terpenes, it also changes THC. So THC can be both energizing and sedative depending on the amount. What is interesting is as time passes and as cannabis is exposed to oxygen, the oxygen changes the THC into CBN. And you may have seen CBN recently because it's in every sleep gummy out there. So CBN is just THC that's been changed by oxygen, and now it's a bit more sedating. So the two main paths that are going to determine how your cannabis feels, right, are cannabinoids and terpenes. And of course, there are lots of other things that we haven't even discovered yet, but that's what we have control over. So if you're going out of your way to find a certain kind of cannabis that because you like the effect and you want to get the effect out of it as long as possible, then that's why you should be interested in storage. So after I posted that video, a lot of you guys brought up a great point and said, there are these things that are like electric mason jar sealers. And I don't like stuff. I'm not like a stuff person, kind of a minimalist, but I I thought like, oh, there are like 30 people that are leaving the same comment. Maybe I should check it out. So I got one for $29. Then I saw it was reduced to 22 the next day. It's okay. I'll put a link. It's really interesting, and I'm surprised I waited this long because if you do the cost per day from the 18 years I've been smoking, it's I think it makes the biggest difference of anything I've tried so far. So I just want to show you guys how to use it, and especially for people with maybe a little arthritis or some like mobility issues where you can't necessarily use like a manual pump with the mason jar. This is a great option. And I think there is something special to storing weed in a mason jar. I don't know. There's something like nostalgic to it, something beautiful about it. I use an amber mason jar because the other culprit to weed degradation is, besides oxygen, is light. So amber is gonna protect the light. This jar also protects from light. That's one of the reasons I like it a lot. Um, and I keep this just in a cabinet. And also, one more thing you can do that's in your control is these little Boveda packets are fantastic. They're cheap. They keep the moisture out and so it's 62%, right? So if it becomes too wet, it'll suck the moisture out. But then if it becomes too dry, it'll insert a little moisture in. There's like a saltwater gel inside of these packets. So it's pretty cool. So I just throw one in with my cannabis. And normally, right, I would just put this on and be satisfied with it. But let me show you how this looks. So you put the top on, easy. And then the electric sealer comes with two heads. So this is for smaller mason jar lids. So you just take it off like that. And then you put it right on top. And then you just push it down because you're gonna make sure the air's out. Okay, cool. And then there's one button. I love when it has one button. You press the one button, press it, and I leave it for about 30 seconds. One other thing, why I didn't want one originally. I'm gonna put it over here so I can talk properly. Well, I was worried that I wouldn't use it, that I would use it maybe once or twice and then I'd kind of forget about it and be over it, that I wouldn't be able to incorporate it into my cannabis ritual, which is also why I was nervous about switching from joints to a vape because it was changing my ritual. But what I've noticed, we're at 26 seconds. Let's just finish this and then I'll show you. 30 seconds. Fabulous. So you press the button. Okay. And then let me just finish this thought. What I like about this and the new ritual that I've developed is that in the time it takes to seal the jar, it's the exact amount of time it takes for me to grind up my weed. So I seal, I grind, and then I come back. So then you take this off, super easy, kind of like wiggle it off, I've noticed. And you don't have to be like super strong, but you have to be a little strong. Okay. So and then this is on, right? And then I'm gonna try to take this off, but sometimes you need to use the little thing it comes with because it's really on tight. But just listen to this, okay? Okay. So I can't get it off because you need the okay, so that's on tight. So I trust that. So this is great for long-term storage. I know a lot of us are going to be buying in bulk for the 420 deals that are going to be happening. You're probably going to get great deals on ounces if you want to maintain the molecular integrity of that sativa ounce. I would suggest trying one of these. They're fantastic along with the amber jars. There's like a red line, it lines up. It's really easy. I just watched a YouTube video to figure out how to work it. Um, and then great, yeah, see, and then now it's good for smaller mason jars too. It's really fantastic. Um, let's end this episode by testing the original jar. I hope that it makes the whoosh sound. If it doesn't, that's okay. Um, I was nervous that something was wrong with it, so I removed the link from my previous video in case you were wondering where it went. But let's just figure out what's going on. So we've been talking not very long, probably way less than 10 minutes. So we're gonna press the thing. Okay, so it didn't really make a sound, right? Which makes me think that even within, let's say 5 minutes of talking, it maybe lost the seal, which isn't really a good sign. I did reach out to the guy who makes it to see if I could understand more. But in the meantime, what I would recommend is amber mason jars and an electric sealer, and you're just going to get so much more bang out of your buck, and then you won't have to worry. Um, and then I have another little jar, the free jar that you get when you order the vaporizer. Um, and I keep my weed for the day in that, so I don't have to be opening this jar 2 or 3 or 4 times a day. I just take a bit out and then I put it in the other jar and then I'm good to go. So I hope this was helpful and I'm glad I could share new information with you guys as I learn. I hope I can pass that on to you. And yeah, I appreciate you listening and being with me on this journey. And let's just get the most out of our cannabis. Thanks for listening.